For this one, I'm just going to read very shortly. This is a letter, a formal letter I sent to the Texas Supreme Court dated for April 10th, 2018, in cause number 17-0622. As of April 10th, 2018, I formally renounced my assumption of the duties of Texas Attorney General. I assumed the duties in accord with the dictates of my conscience, understanding as a Texan I had a constitutional right to address issues of sabotage and sedition ongoing in Texas. However, in the time since I first began attempting to redress grievances visited upon me after being kidnapped for 10 days, I've been provided with no evidence that the conscience that compelled me to act is present anywhere else in the state of Texas. As a Christian, I believe it is a duty to fight for one's rights and to thwart any attempts to enslave or otherwise manipulate the children of God. However, since I first began attempting to file reports with the Houston Police Department on December 10th, 2016, I have been met with no such comparable commitment. On the contrary, I have instead seen a proliferation of vice and an orchestrated, organized, systematic regime that seeks to exploit the poor and enable them into more vice in order to use them as service and financial instruments. There appears to be no legal redress for efforts to address this. Even it appears the judicial system at its highest levels is either unwilling or incapable of taking assertive action to support calls for justice for its own citizens. Additionally, I have tracked and followed how instead my legal filings have been used for financial deals that have abetted enemies of the United States, some of whom live and work within Texas, including in public institutions and under the guise of law enforcement. I have thus far been provided with no compensation, no assistance with reacquiring my personal and private property that was stolen and used by others in the commission of crimes, no official body with which to submit evidence or information that has serious security implications, and no possibilities for developing independent and entrepreneurial business ideas without it being extorted into cooperation with criminal syndicates. My conscience does not permit me to represent people or a system that tolerates such things. My conscience does not permit me to allow myself to be represented as a person that tolerates such things. I cannot say at this point that there is even room in what is called Texas for a person of such Christian values. As such, I resigned from my efforts to assume the duties of Texas Attorney General in an effort to assist Texans with redress for crimes against the economy and polity of the people of Texas. Please know that any further financial or information transactions involving any entity known as Texas connected to my person are to be terminated. This was produced and this was sent in on April 10th, 2018. Now, I'm going to say, before I say whatever I say next, in many ways, the substance of this, except for the first sentence, I stand behind everything I said. And I do not consider anything I'm about to say to be at all inconsistent. If there was a request, including by people who themselves are holy people, or that people that feel very strongly about their faith conviction and believe they may be in a situation where they're being subjected to religious persecution, including insofar as they may be a part of a particular faith calling that's not very conventional, or that does not have a lot of representation in terms of actual numbers of people. And it is important for them to understand who they're dealing with when it comes to their matters of conscience. Then I would respect them and I would be honest and forthright. But I will say that when I put this forward at the time I did, under the circumstances I did, and in accordance with what I was witness to at that time, I absolutely believed what I wrote, and I still do. And if there are others who do not wish in any way, shape, or form, including because for a personal faith matter, it would be considered heretical to their own understanding of faith, to be allowed to be misrepresented as the kind of people that would allow themselves to be represented as the kind of people that would visit persecution upon others, or that would try to gain personal favor by availing themselves of the advantages of the persecution of another group of people, then I would support them 100%. And because I was the one who, in accordance with my own understanding of what was appropriate, what was available, and what I understood I had a duty to do, took the positioning of stepping into this specific role, I would accept if somebody were to say that it would be my responsibility to be authentic and honest, even if it had to do with being subjected to slander or somebody's scrutiny. However, there is no constitutional justification for subjecting anybody to any kind of religious test. There's no constitutional basis for that. And so I'm going to stop this, and then I'm going to make another video